The first time Sam saw her, she was standing barefoot in the middle of Maple Street, soaked from head to toe. Arms stretched out like she was trying to catch the thunder. It was the kind of storm New Jersey hadn't had in years. Flash flood warnings, sirens wailing in the distance, tree branches scattered across lawns. Sam had just pulled into town after years away, his old sedan coughing like it resented the trip. He was supposed to be helping his sister pack up their childhood home one last weekend of memories and mold before it was sold off. He'd taken the long way around, a habit that hadn't died since high school. Maple Street was quieter than he remembered. But then again, everything felt dimmer these days. And there she was. A girl no, a woman so out of place. She looked like she'd been painted into the scene as an afterthought. Her clothes were old-fashioned, not thrift store vintage, but authentically old. A cream-colored blouse tucked into a navy skirt that reached her calves. Lace-up boots that didn't look waterproof in the slightest. She didn't notice the car rolling toward her. Sam slammed the brakes, heart jumping, horn blaring. She turned her head slowly, not frightened, just surprised. Then she vanished. Not ran, not ducked behind a tree. She vanished right there in front of his headlights. Sam sat frozen behind the wheel, wipers squealing, trying to understand if maybe the storm was playing tricks on him, or if he'd dozed off. But when he got out of the car, there was a puddle where she'd stood, and nothing else. No footprints, no broken umbrella. Not even a wet leaf disturbed. He didn't tell his sister when he got to the house. She already thought he was soft in the brain. For quitting his job and moving to Oregon to write screenplays, he never finished. Ghost girls in thunderstorms wouldn't help his case. That night, sleep didn't come easy. The storm knocked out the power, and he lay in the dark spare room with only the sound of dripping rain and the buzzing silence of old regrets. Around 3 a.m., he gave up and went for a walk. The rain had stopped, and the town felt paused-like. The world was holding its breath. He walked back to Maple Street. She was there again, this time sitting on the sidewalk, arms around her knees, staring at the storm drain like it held the answers to every question ever asked. Sam approached slowly. "Hey, okay." She looked up, eyes wide but not afraid. "Are you real?" That was not what he expected. "I think so," he said. "Are you?" She smiled. "You wouldn't believe me." She glanced around, taking in the cracked sidewalks and parked cars. "This isn't 1949, is it?" He almost laughed. Then he saw the seriousness in her eyes. "No," he said slowly. "It's 2025. She blinked once, twice, then she Well, that complicates things. Sam wanted to ask 100 questions, but he also didn't want to scare her off. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Clara." "Sam." They shook hands like people in a movie, formal and tentative. She looked up at the sky. It was raining just now. "Yeah, a big storm. You were standing in it before." Disappeared. She bit her lip. "That keeps happening. You time travel a lot." She raised an eyebrow. "You believe me? Not yet. But I'd like to." Clara smiled. "Genuine this time? You're strange. You're telling me that they sat on the curb, shoulder to shoulder, not speaking?" The silence wasn't awkward, it felt like the pause between breaths. A moment suspended. "Finally," she said. "I was supposed to meet someone in 1949. I think I was late. What happens if you miss your moment?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I don't know. Maybe nothing, everything." Sam looked at her, really looked. She wasn't just out of time, she was lost. And not just because of the year. He pulled his jacket tighter around him. "So, what now?" Clara stood, brushing her skirt. "If I vanish again, look for me. Okay, where?" She looked down the street, toward the old bookstore, where stories begin. Then, just like that, she was gone again. And this time, Sam knew she was real. The next morning, Sam woke up with mud on his shoes and water spots on his jacket. He sat on the edge of the bed, trying to convince himself he hadn't dreamed Clara, but the dried dirt and the faint scent of ozone told a different story. He drove into town before breakfast, stopping outside the old bookstore she'd pointed to. Where stories begin. Those were her words. It was called Turn the Page, tucked between a bakery that hadn't opened yet and a boarded-up shoe repair shop. The bell above the door jingled as he entered. The place looked like it hadn't changed since Clara's time. Wooden shelves leaned slightly to one side, and a rotary phone sat behind the counter. The scent of old pages and lemon wood polish filled the room. Looking for something in particular, a woman called from behind a stack of books. She was older, maybe in her 70s, with a voice like gravel and warmth. Maybe, Sam said, stepping closer. Did anyone named Clara ever work here? Maybe a long time ago. The woman furrowed her brow. You mean Clara Bell? Sam's heart jumped. Yes, that could be her. Well, I never knew her, but her photos on the wall in the back. She disappeared in 1949. Still gives the town something to talk about every time it rains. He followed her to the back of the store. On the wall, among faded black and white photographs of old staff and town events, was a picture of Clara. She looked just as she had the night before, soft curls, gentle smile, and a light in her eyes, like she was keeping a secret. She was supposed to meet someone the night she vanished, the woman said, watching Sam carefully. They say he waited for hours. Never came back to town after that. Just left. Sam felt like the floor shifted beneath him. Do you know his name? She shook her head. No one ever said. But Clara used to write in her journals, kept them in a box in the attic. The last owner said they went missing when the store changed hands. Sam stared at the photo. She'd asked him to find her. He hadn't imagined that. This wasn't just coincidence, it was invitation. He spent the rest of the day digging. First, he asked around town, visiting the local library and calling the historical society. A lot of polite curiosity, but no breakthroughs. Back at the house that night, his sister asked if he was okay. You look like you're chasing ghosts. Maybe I am, he answered without thinking. She laughed. Well, if you start hearing music from nowhere or talking to mirrors, let me know. He didn't explain. He wouldn't know where to start. That night, unable to sleep again, Sam found himself walking Maple Street under a full moon. No storm, no vanishing women, just silence. But as he passed the old telephone booth outside the train station, a relic no one used anymore, it rang. He froze. It rang again and again. He stepped forward and lifted the receiver. Sam, her voice came through. Barely a whisper. You can hear me. His throat went dry. Clara, where are you? I don't know. It's not 2025 anymore. Are you okay? A pause. It's dark, but I think I'm still in Maple Street. The air smells like coal. And there's music. Swing music. Can you find me? I'll try. How are you calling me? I found a phone booth, but it says 1947 on the calendar. The line crackled. Wait, don't hang up. Tell me something only you'd know. You said you believed me, she whispered, even when you didn't. The line went dead. Sam stood there, the receiver still in his hand, heart racing. That hadn't been a dream. That wasn't a ghost. Clara was real, and she was stuck somewhere in time. And now, so was Haggis, not in the way he'd expected. By the next morning, Sam had a new obsession. Find the booth. He couldn't shake the sound of Clara's voice through that old receiver. The way she said his name, like it was an anchor, had settled deep in his chest. He returned to the phone booth at sunrise, half hoping it would ring again. It didn't. Instead, he circled it, inspecting every angle. It was dented and faded red, barely standing, but as he looked closely, he noticed a tiny metal plaque riveted near the bottom, faded but legible. Installed 1947, Maple Street Station, same year she mentioned. He opened the booth's glass door and stepped inside. It still smelled like old copper and rust. He picked up the receiver, pressed it to his ear. Silence. But something scratched against his thumb. He looked down. Taped beneath the cradle was a folded piece of yellowed paper. No envelope, no signature, just a line of typewritten text. "You can still find me before the moment ends." Sam froze. Either someone was playing an elaborate trick, or the impossible was happening in plain sight. He went to the library again, dug into the archives like a man possessed. Obituaries, local ghost stories, police reports. He found her name again, Clara Bell Green, age 22. Last seen during a rainstorm on October 8, 1949. Outside Turn the Page books. A local boy, rumored sweetheart, vanished shortly after, but something strange emerged in the records. Every few years, someone claimed to see a girl in old clothes. During storms, the sightings were scattered across decades: 1955, 1973, 1989, 2003, 2011. Each time, Maple Street. Each time, gone without a trace. He took pictures of every report and pinned them on a wall back at the house. He circled dates, underlined places. It wasn't random, it was recurring. That night, rain started again. Not heavy, just a soft, persistent drizzle like the sky was whispering a secret. Sam grabbed his coat and ran out, back to the booth. He stepped inside. "Clara," he whispered into the silence. "If you can hear me, I'm here." Thunder rumbled. A gust of wind rattled the glass. Then the receiver buzzed. He snatched it up. "Clara," nothing. Then a voice. Not hers. "Wrong number," it said flatly. And then the line went dead again. Sam flinched. Was someone else using the same line? He stepped out, looking down the street. Empty. Until it wasn't. Across the road, beneath a flickering street lamp, she stood. Clara, dry this time, not soaked, not panicked. Her hair was pinned differently, like she'd stepped out of a 1940s film. She looked older, too. Not in years more, in posture, like something had happened to her since the last time. Sam stepped off the curb. "Clara," she looked startled. "I didn't think I'd land this far ahead." He stopped. "Where to?" Time jumped again. She nodded. "Only by a few years this time. I keep bouncing. Like the universe doesn't want me to stay in one place. You've only been gone for a day here. For me," she said, "it's been weeks." Sam looked around. "Can you stay this time?" "I don't know." Her voice cracked. "Every time I get close to something, I slip again. Like I'm never meant to settle, but you keep coming back." She stepped closer. "Because I think you're part of the equation." Sam wanted to laugh. "Equation? That's the most romantic math metaphor I've ever heard." She smiled, grateful. "You don't make me feel like I'm crazy. You're not. And I think I can help, if I figure out the pattern." He pointed to the bookstore. "The sightings, the storms, the calendar dates, you're not jumping randomly. It's connected." Clara tilted her head. "Then solve it." "I'm trying," he said. "But I need you to stay long enough to help me crack it." "I'll try." They walked together in silence, toward the bookstore, their footsteps soft on the wet pavement. Sam reached into his pocket and pulled out the folded note from the booth. "I think you left this." She unfolded it and smiled. "No, I haven't written this yet, but it was there today. I must have dropped it sometime soon. She looked up, time's folding in on itself. I don't care, he said, as long as I find you each time. She blinked back a tear. Then let's keep finding each other. And just like that, lightning split the sky and she vanished again. But this time, Sam didn't panic. He looked down at the ground, where the note had fallen again, and whispered, I'll find you before the moment ends. By now, Sam had accepted it. The girl he loved was untethered from time, and it was up to him to map the pattern of her return. He pinned Clara's sightings across a giant corkboard in his garage, red threads stretched between decades, taped to weather patterns, lunar cycles, and storm dates. He was unsure when he had become a man who slept beside research notes and whispered math equations in his sleep, but here he was. He wrote everything down. October 8th, 1949. Clara's first recorded disappearance. August 12, 1955. Sighting near the train station, May 3, 1973. Old journal entry from a librarian mentioning a ghost girl. June 6, 1989. Power outage and multiple reports of a woman from the past. October 1, 2025. Clara appears again. The thread of storms was the strongest link. Every time she reappeared, it had rained. Every vanishing, lightning. Sam dug into local weather archives and cross-referenced storm patterns over the last century, and that S, when he found something strange, the same thunderstorm frequency that occurred in 1949 was predicted to repeat exactly 76 years later, in 3 days. A cycle. If he was right, then Clara would appear again, soon, and if he could get her to the right place, at the right time, maybe she could stay. 3 days later, the rain didn't wait until nightfall. By noon, the skies over Maple Street had turned a brooding charcoal gray. Thunder mumbled, like something waking up. Sam stood in the middle of the bookstore, the bell above the door chiming behind him. The old woman from before gave him a curious glance. You waiting for her again? She asked. He nodded. She's not a ghost, is she? The woman added, I used to think she was. She's real, Sam replied. More real than anyone I've ever met. The woman smiled softly and handed him a book. It was worn leather with no title. She left this here. Said you'd need it eventually. He opened it. The first page said, Dear Sam, if you're reading this, you're closer than ever. Don't let me slip again. A bolt of lightning lit up the street outside. The windows rattled. Sam ran. At the phone booth, the air was buzzing. Rain poured sideways. He waited inside, heart pounding. Then, footsteps. She stepped out of the storm, like a memory forming again. Same curls, same worn shoes. But this time, she was soaked through and trembling. You found the loop, she said, her voice cracking. I did, and I know how to break it. Tell me, you need to be anchored. She blinked. Anchored to what? To now? Sam took the book and opened it to the last page. Inside was a folded piece of metal, his old high school keychain. You gave this to me. I haven't yet, she whispered. But you will, he said. This is the paradox. I give it to you now. You keep it, and when you loop back, it stays with you, an object out of time. A marker. She reached for it with trembling fingers, and then the wind screamed. The streetlights burst. A vortex of cold air spiraled down around them, crackling with light. No, she whispered. I can feel it. It's pulling again. Clara, listen to me, Sam shouted, holding her hands. You don't have to go. I don't want to go. Then stay. Say something that grounds you. Here, say your full name, your time, your place. She closed her eyes. My name is Clara Bell Green. I'm 22. I live in New Jersey. It's the year 2025. The wind howled, but the light didn't take her. She remained. Rain soaked them both, but neither moved. It had worked. They collapsed into each other's arms, trembling from the cold and the weight of what had almost happened again. "You stayed," Sam whispered. "For now," she said, pressing her forehead to his. "But time might not be finished with us yet." The rain finally stopped by morning. Maple Street steamed gently under soft sunlight, and puddles reflected the sky like glass. Clara was still there. She'd fallen asleep on Sam's couch, her damp clothes exchanged for a hoodie and pajama pants that barely fit her. Sam sat across from her, quietly sipping coffee and watching her breathe as if he needed proof that she had disappeared again overnight. When she stirred, she blinked up at him, disoriented. "It didn't happen. No lightning," Sam said with a smile. "No sudden fade. You're here." Clara sat up slowly, rubbing her eyes. "You have the world's flattest pillow. Welcome to the 21st century." She scanned the room: TV, books, charger cords, microwave popcorn bags. Her eyes lingered on the framed Polaroid on the shelf. "Is that us?" Sam nodded. "I printed it from the security camera footage at the bookstore. Your first appearance." She walked over to it, squinting at the picture. "I look haunted." "You look like someone who walked out of 1949 into a storm." "I guess I did." They spent the day walking around town slowly. Clara marveled at modern cars, digital signs, and the sheer number of coffee shops. Sam offered her trivia like a tour guide, pointing out old buildings, describing how neighborhoods had changed. At one point, she stopped at a vending machine and just stared. "What is this sorcery?" she asked. "Snacks," he said. "Pick one." She pressed a random button and jumped back when a tiny packet dropped with a loud clunk. "Oh," she laughed, eyes wide. "That's okay. That's magic." She sat on a bench and opened the packet. "Flamin' Hot Cheetos," she read aloud. Suspicious. Why would anyone willingly consume food with flamin' in the title? Only one way to find out. She popped one in her mouth and immediately coughed. "It's like being punched by a chili pepper." Sam couldn't stop laughing. "And now you're officially a part of this century." She drank water furiously. "Okay. What else do I need to survive the modern world?" "Well," Sam said, "you'll need to create an email, learn how to use Google Maps, and pick a Netflix show to binge watch." Clara tilted her head. "That sounds suspiciously like witchcraft." Later, back at Sam's house, they sat on the porch, wrapped in blankets as the evening air cooled. Clara stared at the sky. "You ever wonder why this happened? Why me? Why time picked me to be its plaything?" Sam hesitated. Maybe you weren't meant to be lost. Maybe you were meant to be found." She turned to him, eyes soft. "That's dangerously poetic." "Sam, occupational hazard." He met her gaze, and the silence between them became charged with something tender, cautious, and unsaid. "Finally," Clara whispered, "I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I can stay forever." "Then don't worry about forever. Just stay tonight." She nodded. "Tonight, I can do." That night, while she slept, Sam couldn't. He sat up staring at his wall of notes again. Something nagged at him. He cross-checked the weather cycles and storm patterns once more. Then he saw it. There was a forecast for another mirror cycle storm in 3 days. Stronger, unusual electrical readings, just like before. The anchoring had worked, but maybe not permanently. Maybe it was borrowed time. If she slipped again, there'd be no guarantee she'd land near him, or in this decade, or even on this side of the country. He swallowed hard. There was only one thing he could think of to do now. Fix time, or at least bend it back to her. He glanced over at the sleeping Clara on the couch. curled beneath a fleece throw, breathing evenly. Whatever happened next, he wasn't letting time take her without a fight. 3 days passed, and the weather held its breath. Skies stayed unusually still, unnaturally clear, like the atmosphere knew something was coming. Sam had built a machine. Well, not a machine, exactly. More like a contraption of copper wires, glass panels, and a salvaged lightning rod grounded to his roof. It sat in the center of his garage like a steampunk Frankenstein project, blinking with low blue light from salvaged battery packs and an old Tesla coil display. Clara raised an eyebrow when she saw it. "You've officially lost it," she said, folding her arms. "And here I thought it was charming when you labeled your sock drawer." "This is serious," Sam replied. "If the cycle resets and time tries to take you again, this might hold the anchor. Or electrocute me," she muttered. "Or that," he admitted. "But in theory, if we pulse your last known temporal signature against a fixed grounding point..." "Sam," she cut in, stepping closer, "I appreciate the nerdy heroism. I do. But maybe we can't outsmart time." Sam stared at the mess of wires and tools. "I don't want to lose you again." "I know." She took his hand. "But maybe I was never meant to stay. Maybe that's what makes this real, how short it is." "Then why let me hope?" Clara didn't answer. Instead, she walked into him, gently resting her head on his chest, because hoping felt better than forgetting. That night, the rain came hard. It slammed into rooftops like fists and flashed white across the windows. Clara stood at the kitchen window in Sam's hoodie, staring into the storm. "I feel it," she whispered. Sam looked up from the kitchen table. "Feel what?" "It's itchy behind my eyes, like static, like when it happened before." He stood. "We need to get you in the anchor field." "Sam," no arguments. They rushed to the garage. He handed her the copper pendant wired to the coil. She hesitated. "I'm not afraid of disappearing," she said. "I'm afraid you'll be waiting every storm, every time, forever. Then give me a reason not to." Clara closed her fingers around the pendant. Outside, thunder cracked so loud the floor trembled. Then the lights flickered once, twice, then went out. For a second, everything went black. Sam fumbled for the flashlight. When it blinked on, Clara was still standing there, but her eyes had changed. Not fear, not panic, distance. "Clara," she looked at her hands. "Something's wrong," she said. "I'm not fully here. I feel split." Sam rushed to her. "We have to finish the circuit." "Sit down," she obeyed, voice shaking. "It's pulling, but not the same way." "What do you mean?" "I think I'm being erased." "No, Sam," she whispered. "I think this is the last time." He dropped to his knees. "Then stay. Let the anchor hold you. You can fight it. It's not up to me anymore." Tears welled in her eyes. She reached out, trembling. "Please remember me. Not the time traveler, not the girl who vanished. Just Clara." He took her hand and kissed it. "I'll find you, even if I have to rewrite the laws of the universe." She smiled and vanished. Sam screamed. The storm faded by morning. The pendant was cold. Her clothes folded on the couch, her tea still warm. She was gone. 3 months passed. Spring turned the streets of Bloomfield green and gold. People walked dogs, jogged through puddles, and refilled cafe patios like nothing had changed. But Sam had changed. Every storm, he stood at the garage window with the anchor rig humming quietly behind him. He tested weather frequencies, monitored magnetic anomalies, recalculated what time had borrowed and what it had taken. Each day without Clara was a day missing color. At work, he barely spoke. At home, He kept the couch exactly as she left it. Sometimes he'd find a note she scribbled on the back of a receipt or a forgotten bobby pin. Proof she'd been real, but memory was cruel. Faces blurred, voices faded. He feared he'd forget the sound of her laugh, or the way she'd mispronounce Wi-Fi. Then one afternoon, during a slow drizzle, Sam found something taped to his door. A postcard, weathered, smudged, and addressed in Clara's handwriting. It read only, "Asterisk, you always said you'd find me. I'm at the place where autumn never ends. Don't be late." See? He didn't hesitate. Sam booked a train to Vermont. She'd told him about a town she'd visited once. In the 1940s Maple Hollow, where every October looked like a painting. The leaves stay red forever, she'd said. The town barely showed up on modern maps. But he found it, tucked between forest and fog, nestled with crooked brick paths and shops that sold candles and clockwork feet. It felt like stepping into one of Clara's stories. And there, beneath a string of paper lanterns, beside a bookstore with a crooked sin, stood Clara, wearing his hoodie, smiling real. He froze. Clara stepped forward, looking exactly as she had the day she vanished. "You found me," I promised. They didn't run, didn't cry. They just stood there, soaking in the sight of each other, as if blinking might break the spell. "Finally," she whispered, "I'm anchored now. Not by wires, by you." Sam swallowed hard. How is this possible? I don't know. Maybe the timeline had a soft spot. Or maybe time figured we'd earned a loophole. He laughed. "That sounds like something you'd say." "Probably," she said, and I missed saying things. Later, as the leaves fell gently and the bookstore chimed behind them, Sam and Clara walked hand in hand down a quiet path. No lightning, no machines, just two people defying every law the universe had written for them. Sam looked over at her. "Promise me one thing. Anything. When the next storm comes, don't let go." She squeezed his hand. "Not even if time itself asks me to?" And for the first time in months, Sam believed her. Because sometimes, when the world loses someone, it doesn't mean they're gone forever. Sometimes, love is the only anchor strong enough to bend time.